Hello, thank you for joining us on this episode of Sports Bets for Free. My name is Scott Jenkins, your host, just a local sports bettor here in Phoenix, Arizona. And hopefully today with our bets and your bets, it's going to be another profitable day for you. College football, week 3, Saturday slate. Last episode, we gave you Thursday night and Friday night games. Thursday night, we walk away with the win with ASU. We got Kansas and K-State for Friday. And we'll get into the Saturday slate now, as there is a bum rush of games. There's not going to be some of the big time matchups. There's actually Friday has a good top 20 matchup with Arizona and K-State, but there are some interesting matchups with some of these teams especially. So let's get started, shall we? First game up, 9 o'clock out here in Phoenix, noon Eastern time. Alabama travels to Wisconsin. Line 16.5 favored Wisconsin. 49.5 total. Wisconsin's failed to cover against both the Powder Puffs that they played so far this season. Alabama did struggle a shade with South Florida, but turned it on extremely well late in that one. They just had a couple fumbles early. Otherwise, I think they covered that game against South Florida by 40 rather than just winning by 20 and some change and not covering the 30 number. We're a big believer in Bama to make the playoff here. I think this line is way too low. Wisconsin is not good. I understand it's at Wisconsin's building. They're going to be pumped, yada, 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 right? I trust me, I understand all of that. I just do not understand how you cannot like Bama here. Bama's the better offense. Bama's the better defense. And when in doubt, Bama's much better. All right, so we actually played in this game here. Bama minus 3.5 first quarter, minus 7.5 first half, and minus 15.5 for the game. So Bama minus 3.5 first quarter, 7.5 first half, and 15.5 for the game. Next game up, Memphis, Florida State. We are dying to play this one. We just have not been able to pull the trigger. I honestly think Memphis wins this game outright, and if we do play it, it might be just a money line play for us here. It's in Florida State. Florida State obviously starts off 0-2. They do not look good. DJU proves to be the most overrated quarterback ever in college football because he had good 6 games behind Trevor Lawrence. In this one, it's a 6.5 point line at the moment, total of 53.5. I think Memphis, if you're in an area where Memphis team totals are available, unfortunately Arizona is not. I would play Arizona over Memphis over the team total in a heartbeat. In this one here, 53.5. Like I said, plus 190, plus 200 for Memphis. Take a look at our Google Sheets that we've got posted at the end of the show and on our channel pages there. We might come back and add that one. We have not added it yet. Next game up, 9 o'clock out here in Phoenix, noon Eastern. LSU, South Carolina. This line's moving. But how can LSU, they lose to USC on a neutral site game. I don't say escape, but they did not look good week 2 either. Week 3, South Carolina's actually looked really good. And where South Carolina excels is where LSU sucks, which is defensively. Line has moved to 6.5. We liked it at 7. 6.5, I don't love quite as much, but the home team plus the points with the much, much, much better defense. Give us all the South Carolina we can handle here. So we did play South Carolina money line for the game, plus 2.5 first quarter, plus 4.5 first half, plus 7 for the game. And we sprinkled some on that South Carolina money line. One more time, South Carolina plus 2.5 first quarter, plus 4.5 per first half, plus 7 for the game. Also money line on the game. Next game up, Arkansas State, Michigan. Michigan's offense is god-awful. If their defense helps them score some points, they'll cover the 22.5. Otherwise, God knows if they can score 30 against anybody. Fresno State, not that great. They got, 17 of the 30, or 14 of the 30 points came from the defensive side of the ball. Next game up, Louisiana Tech, NC State. Expect NC State to go take care of business. They're a 21.5 point favorite. We're not in this particular game, but NC State should be able to handle Louisiana Tech at home. They need to start off a lot faster than they have been. The Clemson game, I apologize. The Tennessee game just absolutely got away from them last week. They were in that game till middle of the second quarter. Grayson McCall throws pick six. All of a sudden, game's basically over. They were down to touchdown, driving. He throws pick six, going the other way. Game pretty much finished. Next game up, 9 o'clock out here in Phoenix, noon Eastern time. Central Michigan, Illinois. Illinois, 18.5-point favorite. Congratulations, Illinois, for beating Kansas last week. Impressive win. Kansas is pretty good, in my opinion. They're not going to make the college. They're probably not going to make the college football playoff, but they're pretty good, pretty solid team. They're going to finish probably top 4 of the Big 12. Illinois is probably not going to be top half of the Big 10. 18.5-point favorite here against Central Michigan. Don't like them in this spot and didn't play it, so we're off of that game. Total 48.5. Next game up, 9 o'clock out here in Phoenix, noon Eastern time. Cincinnati going to Miami of Ohio. Cincinnati's missed had an opportunity to go be 2-0. Instead, they're 1-1. Not surprisingly, Cincinnati's not supposed to be hella good this year, but going to Miami of Ohio and they're a 3.5-point favorite. We're not in this game either. If we had to play it, though, we would play the home team, Miami of Ohio, plus the points. Next game up, 9 o'clock in the morning here in Phoenix, noon Eastern time, Oklahoma State, Tulsa. Oklahoma State gets a great come-from-behind win last week to win in double overtime. This week, they're 18.5-point favorite against Tulsa. Tulsa's not that good. This is an in-state rivalry game. We don't like the 18.5 here. Still don't trust that quarterback play from Oklahoma State. If they're running the ball well, they're great. But until that point, I'm out. Another 9 o'clock in the morning game out here in Phoenix, noon Eastern. North Texas, Texas Tech. Red Raiders, former alum Patrick Mahomes' team, right? 10.5-point favorite over North Texas. North Texas hasn't looked fabulous so far this season. Texas Tech's been okay. We don't have a dog in this fight, but 10.5. I'd probably lay it if we were. Next game up, 9:45 out here in Phoenix, 12:45 Eastern time. Boston College, a top 25 matchup, goes to Mizzou. And this one, Mizzou is 16.5-point favorite. Mizzou's in the top 5, 6, 7 right now. Playing well. Boston College comes off a big win against Florida State, but was it really big, or is Florida State that bad? I really honestly think they're that bad. Mizzou's 16.5-point favorite. Would not surprise me if they win this thing by 4 touchdowns, as Boston College did struggle to score a lot against FSU late. Missouri will not struggle to score in this game whatsoever. All right, next game up, 10 out here in Phoenix, 1 o'clock Eastern time. UMass going to Buffalo. This line has moved. Just a shade. It was 4, 3, and now it's the 3.5. Even better if you're on Buffalo like we are. Power rankings suggest that Buffalo should win this game by 12 at home. That's why we're riding them. Buffalo -0.5 first quarter, -2.5 first half, -4 for the game. One more time, Buffalo -0.5 first quarter, 2.5 first half, and 4 for the game. Next game up, Coastal Carolina and Temple. Coastal Carolina should blow the doors off Temple. Temple's no good at football. They haven't been good at football or basketball in some time. 52.5 total. We really don't have a play we like in that game. We're not anything in there. Next game up, 12:30 out here in Phoenix, 3:30 Eastern time. West Virginia, Pittsburgh. Rivalry game. Can anybody believe Pittsburgh won last week and they're 2-0? All right, maybe they're going to start losing a bunch. I hope so. We're under 5.5 wins on Pittsburgh this year. Mountaineers got destroyed week 1 by Penn State. Looked horrible. Couldn't play the run. But they're a 1.5-point favorite here. 63.5 total. I'll be honest with you. If I was playing anything in this game, it would be the under on that one as well. We're not in that particular game. But that's where we'd be. Notre Dame, Purdue, 12:30 out here in Phoenix, 3:30 Eastern time. Notre Dame is looking like the biggest fool on earth for paying Northern Illinois, $1.5 million to come and lose at home. Now they're on the road at Purdue, 9.5-point favorite. Purdue's not that good, but either was Northern Illinois. So what do we think here? Under 47.5 smells real good for two offenses that can't score the ball. Next game up, 12:30 out here in Phoenix, 3:30 Eastern time. Texas A&M and Florida. I want to tell you right now, I would love to put the house up to play Texas A&M. I can't trust their offense. Florida's god-awful. We've seen it now for multiple weeks. I mean, what are we going to do here? We're going to not play the game. because we're not Texas A&M. If they were, how do I put this, better offensively, we'd take them in a heartbeat here at the 3.5. We can't. Florida in the swamp, supposed to be a tough place to play. They got beat. There's Miami. The U's still scoring touchdowns from that game 1 win. Next game up, 12:30 out here in Phoenix, 3:30 Eastern time. Tulane travels to Oklahoma. So Tulane has a game against Kansas State last week. They played really well and lost by a touchdown, even though they were 9-point dogs at home. Now, they were 9-point dogs at home, and they're 13.5-point dog to Oklahoma on the road? Okay, that line don't smell right. Oklahoma did not look good last week. I've told you guys Jackson Arnold is not what Dylan Gabriel was. He's not shown it so far. Maybe he busts out this week and does it. We can't get behind this game, but 46.5. I like the over if I was going to play anything in that particular one. Next game up, 12:30 out here in Phoenix, 3:30 Eastern time. Civil War, Oregon State. Oregon traveling to Oregon State, 16.5-point favorite. Total at 49.5. Does this seem like way too many points? like way too many points? Yeah, it does. Oregon has had 2 close ball games. Struggled to score in the first one, but was moving the ball up and down like crazy. Scored like mad crazy in the last game, but couldn't stop anybody. But still got to win. They're 2-0. I mean, take your wins, right? But they have not looked impressive at all. But Oregon State and 16.5 at home in a state rivalry game, Civil War. Let's go Oregon State. Plus 3.5 first quarter, plus 9.5 first half, plus 16.5 for the game. One more time, Oregon State Beavers plus 3.5 first half or quarter, 9.5 first half, 16.5 for the game. I'll be honest, I do not think Oregon State wins this game, but I think they keep it within a couple touchdowns. Next game up, Washington State, Washington. What is it? Is this the Apple Cup in this one here? Washington State getting 4.5, going to Washington in this one. Total at 55.5. This game also smells like it could be another over in this one. We're not playing in this one, but would not be surprised there. Washington State maybe keeps it within a field goal or possibly for the upset. And then the next game at 12:30 out here in Phoenix, 3:30 Eastern time, Miami of Florida. Everybody's new darling to think they're going to run away with the ACC. I promise you this team will figure out a way to fumble that up. They're a 36.5-point favorite at home with Ball State coming to town. Ball State's not a bad MAC team, but they're not a top 25 team. Maybe a top 50 team, but 36.5. Miami of Florida, that's a big number. Cam Ward needs to throw the ball over God's creation. They need to run the ball down their throat. If we were going to play, it'd be a slight lean to the Ball State plus the 36.5, but we're going to stay away from that one. Next game up, Nevada, Minnesota, also same time slot, 12:30 out here in Phoenix, 3:30 Eastern. Minnesota at home, favored by 17.5 against Nevada. That's how bad SMU played, that they barely beat Nevada, and Nevada's getting 17.5 at Minnesota. Minnesota might have problems scoring 20 points. The total is 44.5. They don't expect much scoring out of Nevada at all in this one. Neither do we. Actually, we think an under in that game at 44.5 is probably the best play. We're not in it, but that's the way we'd lean if we were going to play it. Prairie View and Michigan State, who cares? Same time slot. Really, if we're really betting on Michigan State at minus 40.5, you're obviously a Michigan State fan. For your average, for your guys that are betting lots of games and stuff like that, yeah, we're not touching that one with a 10-foot pole. Next game up, 12:30 out here in Phoenix, 3:30 Eastern time. This is a huge slate of games. VMI going to Georgia Tech, 42.5. Okay. If you like Georgia Tech minus the 42.5, may I recommend you play the total at 57.5? And then you don't have to worry whether they're going to win by 6 or 7 touchdowns in that one. Next game up, 12:30 out here in Phoenix, 3:30 Eastern time. Morgan State headed to Ohio. Ohio a 24.5-point favorite. Ohio gets us a big bunch of tickets last week. Greatly appreciate you, Ohio University. 24.5 though, too big a number for us, so we're staying away from that particular matchup. Next game up, 1 o'clock out here in Phoenix, 4 o'clock Eastern time. Troy, Iowa. Troy has not been good whatsoever. Iowa is a 22.5-point favorite, and if you've seen Iowa play football and watched them be a 22.5-point favorite, oh my bejesus. Total in this game is 38.5. So, wow. If Troy can stop the run, you can slow down Iowa, because Iowa can't throw the ball. I don't give a shit who's back there playing quarterback. Cade McNamara, there's a reason why he couldn't start at Michigan. And he really shouldn't have started Iowa, but they really don't have a better option here. Don't like the game, don't like the side or total, so stay away from that one. 1 o'clock out here in Phoenix, 4 o'clock Eastern time. East Carolina, Appalachian State. This one we do like. Line has moved. App State over the years has been a good program. They are a 1.5 point favorite going to East Carolina. East Carolina, just by power rankings alone, should win this game by 6-7 points. And you're giving me 1.5? Actually, you were giving me 2.5 2 days ago when we got this. We love East Carolina here. East Carolina plus a half first quarter, plus a half first half, plus 2.5 for the game. One more time, East Carolina plus a half first quarter, first half, and plus 2.5 for the game. Next game up, UAB, Arkansas. Arkansas played their ass off last week and unfortunately couldn't beat Oklahoma State. They'll win this game. Question is by how much? They're 23.5 point favorites, 61.5 total. They should score some points. Would not surprise me if they're in the 50s in this particular game or close to it. We're not going to play it, but it's definitely there for the taking if you like the Hogs of Arkansas. Next game up, 1:30 out here in Phoenix, 4:30 Eastern time. Utah going to Utah State. Rivalry is back renewed again. Utah, this line has dropped tremendously because Cam Rising unlikely to play. If Cam was playing this game, this line would be 22.5 plus, and we'd be all over Utah. The backup quarterback for Utah did absolutely nothing against Baylor. We don't like him. Not going to play Utah State plus the 18.5. Utah's defense, much better. Offense, except quarterback, much better. Special teams, better. Can't play him, but I hope Cam Rising gets back. We really think Utah has a chance to make the college football playoff, win the Big 12. Not without Cam Rising, though. Next game up, 3 o'clock out here in Phoenix. 6 o'clock Eastern time, Duke in Connecticut. I'm surprised Connecticut still has a football team. Aren't you guys all surprised as well? Line's at 16.5 here. Duke's not a world beater this year. Obviously lost Riley Leonard and some other pieces as well. But they're a competent football team at home. Only given 16.5. Only got to win by 3 touchdowns. I like it. Duke minus 6.5 first quarter. Duke minus 9.5 first half. And minus 16.5 for the game. One more time. Duke minus 6.5 first quarter, minus 9.5 first half, minus 16.5 for the game. Next game up, UTEP Liberty. UTEP's god awful. Nebraska beat them by 33 for Christ's sake. Although Nebraska beat Colorado up too in that one. But Liberty has not shown their potential. 23.5 point favorite here. Liberty should cover this. We're not going to play it. But it should be a decent game for Liberty. Next game up, also 3 o'clock out here in Phoenix, 6 o'clock Eastern time. Florida International, Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic at home, 5.5 point favorite. In-state rivalry game here. We're not going to play this one either. Total around 44.5. If I had to guess, probably over would probably be the best way to play this one. Virginia Tech, Old Dominion at that same time slot. Virginia Tech, I mean, they lost to Vanderbilt. They come back, they win. This is game 2. They got to go to Old Dominion, 14.5 point favorite. Can't trust VTech to do really anything offensively or defensively. They don't have a calling card, so to speak, so we're not on that game either. Same time slot, Colgate, Akron. Do yourself a favor. Figure out a way to skip that one. Next game up, same thing. South Carolina State, Georgia Southern, and Gardner-Webb and Charlotte, and North Carolina Central and North Carolina. If you've got beats on HBC, you can make some money in those particular games. I'm just telling you right now, like North Carolina is favored by 37.5. North Carolina Central. Charlotte, who's not a very good team. Gardner-Webb must be a lot worse. 11.5 point dog there as well. But let's go on to the 3:30 Phoenix, 6:30 Eastern time. Ole Miss. And this line has actually came down as well. Wake Forest. We loved it at 23.5. Now it's down to 21.5 in some spots. 64.5. Total. Ole Miss has just absolutely just crushed everybody. This game is on the road. This will be their toughest opponent so far, but we'll still take Ole Miss here. Minus 6.5 first quarter, minus 13.5 first half, and 23.5 for the game. Like I said, you can get it at 21 and a hook now. Ole Miss minus 6.5 first quarter, minus 13.5 first half, 23.5 for the game. Next game up, we'll skip Bethune-Cookman and Western Michigan. If you're desperate to play, Western Michigan should win that game by 40. UTSA and Texas. Line was at 35, now it's at 35 and a hook. UTSA got their ass handed to them by Texas State. Couldn't score, couldn't do anything. So if they couldn't score against Texas State, and I just watched Arizona State put up 31, what do you think they're going to do against Texas? Total's at 55.5. This is one of those rare situations where Texas could win 49-0. Cover their side and be under on the game. We love Texas. We played them here. Now, the only thing you got to worry about is the letdown. Hopefully that does not happen. Stark was very adamant about not letting down, being like Notre Dame and losing a game after they won at Michigan. But let's be really honest, folks. Michigan is extremely overrated. Extremely overrated. Their defense was supposed to be great, couldn't stop Texas. Their offense is god-awful. I don't expect the same out of UTSA. Texas minus 7.5 first quarter, minus 20.5 first half, 35 for the game. One more time. Texas minus 7.5 first quarter, 20.5 first half, and 30.5 for the game. 35 for the game. Duh, hello. San Jose, Kennesaw State, and Kennesaw State were not in this particular game, but I'm going to tell you right now, Kennesaw State might be one of the worst teams in college football. San Jose should be able to cover this 18.5 number there as well. Also, another 4 o'clock out here in Phoenix, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Vanderbilt going to Georgia State. Vandy, a 10.5 point favorite. Would like to play Vandy, but haven't really seen them on the road. Don't know what they're going to kind of be like on the road, so we'll stay away from that one. Next game up, also 4 out here in Phoenix, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Jacksonville State travels to Eastern Michigan. Jacksonville State has been getting their ass handed to them at home. Now they're all of a sudden a 1.5 point dog going to Eastern Michigan. No. Let me just say it again. No. Eastern Michigan minus a half first quarter, minus a half first half, minus 1.5 for the game. Eastern Michigan over Jacksonville State minus a half first quarter, half first half, and 1.5 for the game. Next game up, South Florida, who played really well till late against Alabama. Against Southern Miss, they're a 10.5 point favorite going there. We stayed away from this particular one. I'm not exactly sure what to expect out of South Florida on the road, so we'd stay away there. Next game up, also 4 o'clock out here in Phoenix, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Middle Tennessee State at home, getting 7.5. The line's been fluctuating 7.5. Make sure you get the hook here. I think it could come into play on this one here. Western Kentucky's coming to town. Well, Middle Tennessee's not great, but either is Western Kentucky. Give me the 7.5 in the home team. Please. We love this play. MTSU plus 3 first quarter, plus 3.5 first half, plus 7.5 for the game. 3 first quarter, plus 3.5 first half, and plus 7.5 for the game. Next game up, Hawaii, Sam Houston State. Sam Houston State has actually surprised a much improved team from last year. Wow. Congrats to them so far. They're a 4.5 point favorite with Hawaii coming to town. Total at 48.5. Hawaii has struggled typically away from home, so we'll take Sam Houston minus a half first quarter. Minus 2.5 first half, 4.5 for the game. One more time, Sam Houston minus a half first quarter, 2.5 first half, and 4.5 for the game. Next game up, Georgia, Kentucky. They are making this line go down where I almost want to get involved. Kentucky's not bad, though. And we haven't seen Georgia in a true road game. Line was 24.5. Now it's 22.5. Something smells fishy in the world of college football. Watch out for Kentucky here, plus the 22.5. It would not surprise me if Kentucky only loses by 17, 20 points in this one. Next game up, 4:30 out here in Phoenix, 7:30 Eastern time. UCF, TCU. UCF is a better team, folks. I know TCU was in the national championship game a couple years ago. This is not that same team. UCF going on the road. They're going to have to give up a point or two here, but we do like them. I think offensively and defensively, they're much better than what they're going to deal with TCU. Give us UCF minus a half first quarter, -0.5 first half, and -1.5 for the game. All right, next game up, Colorado State, 7.5 point here. Colorado State is bad. Colorado has not been good, and they're favored by 7.5. Everybody kind of remembers this game last year where Colorado State kept it close, and Colorado was the darling heading in, and that game was close. Another in-state rivalry game. To be really honest, we didn't play this one, but if we had to play it, Colorado State plus the 7.5 would be the way to go. Indiana, UCLA, 4:30 out here in Phoenix, 7:30 Eastern time. Indiana, 3.5 point favorite because they have looked really good in the first two games. They haven't played anybody, folks. I understand they've put up a bunch of points. UCLA is not great, but they're not a pushover either. 3.5 points in this one. We're not going to play this game. If we were, we would play the home team here, UCLA, plus the 3.5. Next game up, Northwestern, Eastern Illinois. Do yourself a favor. If you like scoreless football, this is your game. The only way to play this one is under 35.5. Toledo, Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State's undervalued here this week at home against Toledo, just due to the fact that they lost on the road at ASU. They played a tough game. ASU's pretty good. I mean, they showed it against Texas State, who was supposed, college football 12 a possibility from the Sun Belt Conference, but Mississippi State's actually pretty decent. Now they get to be at home in a game they should be able to handle, and 10.5's the line. Where do we sign up for this one? In fact, we took it at 11.5 and still feel real comfortable there. Mississippi State -3.5 first quarter, -6.5 first half, -11.5 for the game. One more time, Mississippi State -3.5 first quarter, 6.5 first half, 11.5 for the game. Next game up, we've got Northern Iowa, Nebraska. Nebraska favored by 32.5. No shocker there, coming off the big win against Colorado and week 1 against UTEP. And everybody wants to call Raiola the next Patrick Mahomes. Can we please calm this shit down? Please. I understand he wears the same number. They're both teams that have red uniforms. That's really about where it stops. Now, Raiola was a very highly touted pickup for Nebraska. Matt Rule, normally year 2, does pretty well. They should crush Northern Iowa. If they don't, I don't know what to tell you, but they should crush them pretty easily. But we're staying away from that particular matchup. New Mexico and Auburn. How can you back Auburn -28.5 after the shit show that they put up at Cal? We're not playing that one either. Air Force and Baylor. 15.5 point spread here. Baylor favored. If you like low-scoring games, this is your matchup too. Under 41.5. Then we've got Tennessee, Kent State. Tennessee, wow, you looked fantastic against NC State last week on that neutral site field. Tennessee could be the real deal. We picked them for the college football playoff 12. Not winning the division, but making it at large bit. They're 49.5 point favorite. I can't back 50, so we're off of that one. Maryland and Virginia. Maryland traveling to Virginia. Maryland, 2.5 point favorite. When we look at power rankings here, Maryland is much, much better and only laying 2.5 here. So give us Maryland -0.5 first quarter, -1.5 first half, and 2.5 for the game. Maryland -0.5 first quarter, 1.5 first half, and 2.5 for the game. They should be able to take that one home pretty easily. Next game up, Rice and Houston. Okay, I know Houston's not great, but Rice was supposed to be better, and bad handicap on me because they are god-awful. And Houston's only given 4.5. We'll play in this one too. Houston -0.5 first quarter, 2.5 first half, and -4.5 for the game. One more time. Houston over Rice, -0.5 first quarter, 2.5 first half, and 4.5 for the game. A few more games to go, folks. That's it. All right, so we get to BYU and Wyoming. This game's all the way down to 9.5. The sharp bettors are 11 Wyoming at home. There is a huge difference between Wyoming at home and on the road. BYU has played well above their skis so far in this one here. Do not be surprised if Wyoming wins this damn game outright. It's 9.5. It was 12.5. Then it was 11.5. Now all of a sudden 9.5 at a lot of books. Take the Wyoming plus the points. We're not playing it. Money line, I would sprinkle a couple bucks there. Next game up, San Diego State, California, or Cal. 18.5 point favorite for Cal at home. They should be able to beat up SDSU pretty solidly here. We think, hell, they just beat up Auburn, right? 18.5, we're not in it, but if we had to play it, that's the way we would. And last game of the night, 7:30 out here in Phoenix, 10:30 Eastern time to wrap up college football Saturday. New Mexico State, Fresno State. New Mexico State's kind of shocked us a little bit on what they can do offensively. Fresno State, they played decently. 47.5 the total. If we were going to play in this particular matchup, we would be playing the over there. All right, so we just went through all the games, tons of bets. How do you get to take a look at all those bets? We've got them posted online for you. TikTok, YouTube channel pages as well at the end of every episode on YouTube. It is docs.google.com/spreadsheet. Bunch of other stuff behind it. Click on that link. Go to football 24-25. The NFL and the college football is in there on both of those. So you need to go down to college football week 3. You'll be able to see all the bets we made, what juice we got them at, how many units we wagered, what book we placed them at. As many bets as we've got going on, you need these Google Sheets, folks, if you're actually going to play along with our plays. So make sure you check that out when you get some time. If you like the content that you're seeing and want to see some more, no problem whatsoever. All you have to do is hit follow or subscribe, depending on the social media platform you're watching us on. Will show up in your follower subscriptions tab. If you want to make life even easier than that, just hit turn the notifications on for that social media platform. You'll get a notification sent to your phone or device to let you know Sports Bets for Free's dropped a new episode of bets, which will give you plenty of time to match those up with your bets and give you the ton of confidence you need heading to the betting app or betting window. Plus, we have tons of promo bonus bets to give away. Online casinos, fantasy sites, sports books, depending on the state that you're in, obviously, because every state's different with the laws these days. The only state we do not have anything for currently is Nevada. Otherwise, we've got something for you. Check it out. Also, TikTok and YouTube channel pages, that's bit.ly/sportsbetsforfree-bh. Click on that link. It'll automatically show you what's available. It's for new users at all of them. So if you got all those, congratulations, fantastic. A lot of those online casinos, though, might be new, or the fantasy sites. Maybe you haven't heard of those before, like Dabble, Parlay Play, some of those. Make sure you do check those out as well. We do appreciate everybody's support as always, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.